Welcome back, everyone. We are Little Brown Women, and this is our podcast, Unplugged. Every fortnight, we talk candidly with our wondrous guests and with each other about a range of important and topical issues, often from the lens of identity, culture, and empowerment. Today, we are so pleased to welcome our first guest of 2021 onto the show, the lovely Tene Edwards. Tene is a spoken word artist, writer, and poet, and author of her raw and visceral debut collection, Walk with Wings. Through her own struggle and journey, she has used writing as a means of therapy for herself, but in turn has helped thousands of people on their own journeys. She is a fierce advocate for self-discovery and female empowerment. In today's episode, we explore Tene's story on becoming a writer and poet, her view of self-love and relationships, and her journey of self-discovery, and how she consistently achieves enlightenment. So, without further ado, let's get talking. Wow, Tene, wow, I am so ecstatic to have you on our show today. I've absolutely been buzzing this morning. And no, it's not because I've just had double shot espresso coffee. But anyway, it's great to have you on the show today.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
I just wanted to say I really connect with your content today. Becoming a writer, it wasn't your first immediate career goal. We've learned a lot about your windy discovery path into who you are today, right? So, Tene, can you tell us a little bit about, your background and your journey?
Sure. First of all, thank you so much for your amazing introduction. I'm so glad that you're able to resonate with my words. Honestly, it is so heartwarming to hear, and it just validates what I do. I would say that my journey began when I found myself in a really dark place. I felt really lost in my career path, lost in life, and I don't know, I guess I just turned to writing as a form of releasing all the thoughts and emotions that was spiraling in my mind.
And so you felt, going to pen to paper was your way of almost like a therapy of going through the emotions and just riding the waves, right?
Yeah, exactly. That was it. I've always journaled as a child, and I kind of stopped for a while because as you get older, other things just took priority, really. I was just living life and stopped journaling. But when I found myself in this dark place, I sort of didn't know where to turn. And as quite a shy and quiet person growing up, I never found it comfortable speaking to other people about my problems and things that I was going through. When I was writing in the journal, it just felt like such a release, and I discovered that writing became my therapy.
Yeah, so I was kind of afraid of journaling because with journaling, you're putting words onto paper describing what's going on in your head, and it's almost like you're facing your own mirror because, we're so used to muting our own thoughts, our own feelings, because we live in a crazy dynamic pace, right? And so I think I was just so used to muting my own thoughts, and I just got really good at it. And so putting pen to paper, I think that was like the biggest challenge. I don't know if you agree with that.
Yeah, definitely. When I started writing, I was writing to vent my pain, and it helped me to really get raw and honest with myself. And sometimes it was scary, like rereading those pieces again. Even in the book Walk with Wings, like some pages I find really difficult to reread, because of where I am now. And just reflecting on that, it's like, I don't know, I just almost feel like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I put up with this sort of thing. So it definitely is difficult, reflecting on the words that you've written. For a long time as well, I really suppressed my emotions by going out all the time. That was the first thing that I did to try and escape the reality of life. I just started going out a lot, and I would get drunk all the time because I just wanted to feel that happiness again. and that's where I turned to. And I realized that by doing that, I was actually suppressing my emotions and running away from them. But when I started to journal, that's when I started to face my emotions. And even though it was difficult, it was so enlightening. And that was the beginning of my healing journey, really.
Yeah, wow. You know, when you said about us, going out and trying to ignore what was going inside, just that it's just being succumbed to that whole social pressure of it all. Because I think I discovered that phase of my life in university. It's all about making as many friends and, figuring out who's popular, who's not. It's ridiculous, really. And I was the same. I think I definitely was going out and maybe drinking a little too much than I should be, and just not really addressing what was going on inside. I definitely wasn't equipped with the tools to figure out what was going on. So you you graduated from your law degree in 2016, and I think that as a turning point was very impactful on for your journey towards becoming a writer today, right?
100%. So I sort of chose the career law. I chose that to do that at university because I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do at the time. I was really young and I just wanted to get into uni because that's what all they really spoke about at the college that I went to. All my friends were striving to get into university. So in my thought, I just didn't want to get left behind. And I did law at A level because I originally actually wanted to do biology, but because the class was full, I was left with two options to either do law or I think it was health and social care. So I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead with law. And it was all right. I enjoyed parts of it in college. And I just thought, okay, I might as well just do it as a degree since I'm not quite sure what I want to do. So let me just do law. And that's what I did. And my family were really proud of me. They were excited. They were, happy to have somebody going to university doing, the career, following the career path of becoming a lawyer, because for them that was like a highly respected profession. So I was really striving to become a lawyer when I graduated from university. I mean, I was going to open days in the city. I aimed high. I feel like I've always been a dream big type of person. So I wanted to be a lawyer in the city at one of the, top law firms. So I would go to their open days to just get insight into, what it is that I needed to do to be able to be there. And through going to those open days, at the time, I was just so focused on trying to get into the law firms that um, I didn't really realize the impact that it was having on me until I would say a couple years after. Um, I just felt like so distant from myself. Like I didn't even know who I was anymore. Even my sister, when she would hear me on the phone, like speaking to recruitment agencies and, speaking to the HR departments from some of these law firms that I had applied to, she used to say to me, like, your voice is so different, like you sound so different. And I really, really felt like I was trying to be somebody that I wasn't. um, the way I spoke started to change, the way I styled my hair to go to these interviews, and even while I was working as a legal assistant as well, the way I would style my hair to go into work was different. I was straightening my hair every day, which really damaged it. And I did that because I felt like I needed to do that in order to fit in. I felt like I couldn't wear braids, I couldn't have my hair out in afro because it wasn't professional enough. Like that's how I felt. And yeah, it that was when I really lost myself, and I really had to sit down with myself. And that when I was white, yeah, I really had to sit down with myself and think, is this how I want to live my life, forever? Like, do I really want to live like this? I was really unhappy. And also the work that I was doing as a legal assistant, it just didn't feel rewarding. I felt like it was more focused on the numbers, and I just couldn't feel like I could be myself. So I wrote to vent my pain out. And I think that's when I really started to understand myself, and I was learning that, um, I needed to find a career that would be rewarding. And that's when I realized that I was actually only doing law for the money and because I didn't want to let my family down. And I wasn't doing it because it was something that I truly wanted to do. It didn't give me meaning. It didn't feel like it was a job that was purposeful. So just writing that out on paper made me realize that I needed to make a change.
I think that's incredible that, first of all, you definitely went through probably one of the lowest points, throughout your life right now, right? And it forced you be at one with yourself and figure out what the hell is going on because you felt numb. I think we've
Yeah.
all had that moment in our lives, like we just felt numb. What the hell are we doing? Like, how is this serving a purpose right now? How is this aligning with my inner core values and beliefs? And I think it's incredibly brave of you to be honest with yourself, put it down on pen to paper and figure it out on your own. Like, I applaud you for that, because
Yeah.
I think people are still probably lost in that journey right now. And I really hope that, one of the listeners in our audience today has that nudge, has that little spark inside them to be like, right, I need to figure this out today. Like what you've done just right now, like you've just told us how that experience has felt, and I can feel it through through the call right now. So then that nicely leads me on to the Walk with Wings book. I actually have read quite a bit of it already, and I actually wanted to read out an excerpt of it if you didn't mind. So I think the one thing that I really relate to right now is so it starts off with heartbreak. It takes strength to forgive without closure. Only when you left me broken, I found self-love. Heartbreak is a brutal teacher. I'm on that journey right now. I've definitely have understood the importance of self-love and self-care. And I'm so thankful for that. And again, it was one of those low points that makes you realize something has to change. Can't keep going on like this. What I wanted to ask you was, what were you trying to achieve with this? And how has that process of becoming a published poet made you feel?
I guess when I started to post my thoughts and feelings online, I really wanted to see whether there was anybody out there who could understand me, because I was really embarrassed about, revealing my true self to those closest to me. So I turned to the internet and felt more comfortable revealing that to strangers. And when I did that, I realized how many people were going through the same thing, who was feeling the same way as I was. And I thought, wow, like I need to do something to really, really help, those who are going through it. And even though I hadn't, I felt like I'm not where I wasn't at the time where I am at now on my self-love journey. Like I feel like I'm more in tune with myself and so on. But at the time I knew that I needed to, bring comfort to those who are feeling lost and alone as I was. And so, but while I was writing and sharing, I was also on my self love journey. Writing was a part of my self love journey. It was a way of me expressing myself, and that felt really, really good for me. And also, I was, going to the gym and doing lots of other things. So I was on that journey, and I thought I needed to create something for those online who are, who are resonating with my words. I felt like I needed to make something that they can hold, make their own, and just have with them, in those moments when they're feeling lost and alone. And a lot of people had asked me if I had a book out, and at the time I hadn't, but it gave me the idea to write the book. And that's when I decided I needed to put something together that will help people build a more supportive and loving relationship with themselves, and help people understand that they can create the life that they deserve, you know. And I'm really sorry to hear that you're going through heartbreak. I know how, you know, powerful the emotions of love is, and how, you know, you can really get blinded by love. And one of the things I try to stress in Walk with Wings is that, you know, you it's important to get in tune with yourself, and you know, really map out what it is that you want in a relationship, and really understand what it is that you can give, and really learn how to set boundaries, and fight for the life that you deserve, because it is possible, you know. And I feel like I'm at that stage now where I'm really living, you know, a happy and fulfilled life.
Tene, every single thing that you've just said is exactly what I'm discovering right now. I'm very new to this journey, so I think figuring myself out, understanding what I like and don't like, is very new. In fact, I think I was just on autopilot. I was just like, right, I need to get out of university. I need to get a job. I need to settle down with my role and figure out, you know, property hunting, and, you know, the typical steps and milestones that, you know, our parents or our local society would promote.
Mm.
And so yes, self-love is definitely something that I've only just discovered now. It's very enlightening. It's actually quite overwhelming as well.
Yeah.
And I don't think, like, I'm an only child, but I don't think I have ever felt comfortable being alone with myself. I think I almost associated being alone being lonely, but that was never the case. And I actually enjoy more alone time, reflecting on my own and figuring out what's going on. It's a very kind of empowering experience. So I wanted to thank you today, actually, because I've only just started journaling now. You told me to just go for it, and the pages that I've written has just given me a sense of clarity. Like, the fuzziness in my brain is just disappeared. I don't know how to explain it, but it's been really great, and I'm so grateful that I had that conversation with you. So thank you so much, and please keep doing what you're doing, because your content, I completely resonate with. It's tangible. It's like it's what you said. It's something for us to hold, so that we understand what we're feeling through your words. And
Mm.
so please continue your impactful work, because it's helped me so much today. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm so glad to hear. I mean, you know, the strength to triumph over any challenge that we go through, or that life hits us with, lies within. Like, and that's another thing I try to stress with Walk with the Wings as well. And I tell the story from pain to triumph, because I want people to know that, you know, there's always lessons to learn in the pain that we go through. And sometimes you might not see it at the time, and it might reveal itself later. But it's important to keep seeking for those lessons, especially when you're going through the pain. I feel like that really helps to keep your mind focused, you know, on being optimistic, on being positive, and that is what will eventually help you get out of, you know, the rut that you find yourself in sometimes. And we all go through it. That it's life, you know. And once I started accepting that adversity is a part of life, it became easier to deal with each problem when it hits me.
That was amazing, Tene. I honestly, I could, like, I feel so like I need to start working on myself more. Like, there's so much truth in what you say. And I honestly couldn't resonate more with you, Tene. I mean, I'm definitely one of those that I hold everything in, and I am like, I will deal with it, I'll figure it out. And when you're doing that, you forget you need to love yourself. You need to take care of yourself. And not all the time taking care of yourself and loving yourself involves face masks. They're all very nice, but you have to feed your soul. You have to feed your heart. You have to feed your brain. And especially, you need to understand that you need to be healed and give yourself time to heal. Much of your work focuses on self-love, and self-love from the female perspective, Tene. So raw, it's so open, it's such a breath of fresh air for us to be able to turn to someone who I feel really, really relatable to, and see that, you know, you've gone through something that is maybe not the same, but similar experiences to, you know, for example, Dami, myself, Roxy. What set you on your journey to self-love, to go, you know what, I'm going to start loving myself and this is how I'm going to do it?
I think the main trigger was heartbreak. I found myself in a second relationship that ended with the guy leaving me for another woman. And it was the second time that it happened to me. So that was when I started to really feel insecure about myself. And I felt like something was wrong with me. But I couldn't fathom the fact that, you know, another guy has left me for somebody else. And I really blamed it on my outer appearance. I felt like, you know, there was something wrong with the way I looked. And whenever I would look inside a mirror, like, I would just search for my flaws. I never saw beauty within myself at all. And I share this story on my Instagram account. And I remember, like, when I would go to see him, I would cake my face with makeup and I would put on more and more the next time and the next time, just hoping that one day, like, he would see my beauty and choose to commit. But that day never came. And I had so much bitterness inside of me. I was just feeling like, oh, I hope that, like, I was just so focused on him, wishing like bad on him, wishing that, you know, his new relationship ended in a horrible way, wishing that, you know, I just had bitter thoughts inside of me. And I just felt like I was imprisoning myself and trapping myself in this cage that I just struggled to get out of because of these thoughts that I was holding and carrying. And that's when I realized that I needed to make a change in my life because I couldn't carry on living like this. It was draining me, it was sucking the energy out of me. And I was just waking up miserable, going to sleep miserable, didn't want to see anyone. And I was really stuck in a rut. And the first thing I did, as I said earlier, was going out, like just going out, getting drunk. And that, you know, even though that was a really toxic way of dealing with it, it was, I don't know, at the time, in the beginning, it made me, when I was drunk, it made me happy. But then after the drink would wear off and stuff, I would fall back into sadness again. And that's when I realized, okay, I can't keep doing that anymore. I need something else. I desperately wanted to be happy again. And when I started writing, that was when I was really able to, that's when I really was able to check in with myself and tap into my emotions. And that's when I realized, you know what, actually, I had a part to play in this. And that was around, you know, how I viewed myself and my self-esteem. And I realized that, you know, the way that I was feeling was my responsibility. The way that I felt about myself and my appearance, that was my responsibility, regardless of how, you know, he treated me, the guy before him treated me. The way I felt about myself, I needed to take ownership for that. And I was writing to myself in a way that, you know, I told myself, okay, if my friend came to me and told me that she was going through the same challenges that I was going through, what advice would I give her? And that's when I started writing to empower myself. And even though I had no idea like what impact that would have on me, that had a massive impact on me. And that's when I realized the power of words and how important it is to speak positive words over your life. Because I was just speaking so recklessly over my life. And I didn't, you know, it didn't sink into me that, you know, those words carry energy. That only sank in when I was writing to empower myself. And that really, really helped to uplift me, to give me energy. And I carried on doing it because of the impact that it was having on me. So I would say it was the heartbreak that really sparked my writing and really encouraged me in a strange way to start my self-love journey.
That is so relatable. I have been there. I have felt that. Because when we grew up, the reason why we struggle to process our emotions and to fit in and to feel empowered and loved is because we don't have idols that represent us, that have similar cultural strains, that have similar, family requirements. I think it is hugely impacting on us to have those, other factors that really weigh in on how we love ourselves and how we choose to take care of ourselves. For example, in my family, I'm married now, very happily married, but until I met my husband, I went through a long journey of self-love and understanding that everything happens for a reason. And, people will come and go through your life, but those are things that you can't control. What you can control is who you share your energy with.
Yeah.
And if you are at the absolute highest point with your energy and with your empowerment and with yourself, you are able to control who you want to share that with. And that goes for my parents, that goes for my friends, that goes for, any relationship in any form. If it's taking too much energy from you, it's not benefiting you. You're not empowering yourself and loving yourself by draining the energy that you work so hard to build. And that is a journey in itself. That took me a long time to get there. And reading your work, seeing how open you are and hearing your story, it gives me hope that there is room for empowerment in this world. So how has being a woman of color in 2020 affected the perception you have of yourself and your ability to love and empower yourself?
I feel like I see my color as my strength. I know that, we face a lot of challenges throughout life, but for me, building my platform or my community and building my brand, for me, by doing that, it's just showing other women of color that you can do the same. That you can, you can build a life around the things that you love to do. That's what I really try to emphasize on my social media, and and the reason why I keep going and I keep going, because I've been, writing and sharing since 2016, and I've been doing it consistently, because I want to show, other women of color that you can do this too. Like you can create the life that you want to live. And regardless of the challenges that we go through, keep going, keep pushing, because people will see you, and people will, you will build an audience around the things that you love, because when you do those things, it emits an energy and people can feel it. People can feel your passion. Like, I'm really passionate about what I do, and I think we get so lost in the hustle of life sometimes, that we forget to check in with ourselves. And sometimes we can just find ourselves on a day like really sad and crying and not knowing why we're feeling like that. And that's because we've just ignored the things. Sometimes something that's really bothering us, we've just tried to ignore it, and we've ignored it, and sometimes we don't even realize that we've ignored something that has bothered us, and then one day we just break down and it all comes out. But through speaking to someone or writing down your emotions, by checking in with yourself, that really helps you to understand what it is that that's going on. And that's why I try to emphasize as well on my social media to really tap into your emotions and get in tune with your inner voice, because it's so important, and it helps you with clarity and focus as well. It helps you understand what it is that you want from life, because that could change from month to month, year to year. And as a woman of color, I just want to emphasize to other women of color that do what it is that you love to do, because life is so short and you just never know when your time is up. And through my uncle, when my uncle was battling with cancer, And I remember I used to go to the hospital to see him because he was on his, last few days. And one of the things that he said to me was, oh, I haven't even had the chance to go skiing yet or sit in a Lamborghini. And he was going over the things that he didn't get to do in life. And for me, that was like a light bulb moment. That's when I realized that, you know what, like I need to walk away from law and follow the path that was meant for me. And I knew that writing was, was my purpose because of the way it made me feel. And regardless of the challenges that I may face as a woman of color, I made a promise to myself that I'm going to continue to do this consistently, regardless of any obstacles that might be put in my way. And that's what I want other women of color to do with the things that they love, to keep going consistently and to not let anything get in the way. And I try to emphasize that by what I do and by showing my consistency and the achievements I have been able to achieve along the way.
I couldn't agree more with you tonight. Absolutely. I mean, 2020 has taught me everything you have said, and it is so important as a woman of color in this day and age to surround yourself with the right kind of people as well. I think having the right people around you that are rooting for you, that are able to relate to you and support you, is so important. The last bit that you said about your uncle tonight, I recently watched a film called Soul. It's a Disney film that Roxy actually recommended to us. And it is such a perfect film for the end of the year because the overall message is appreciating life and everything in its glory and not searching for that purpose. Your purpose is to enjoy life. Your purpose is to live life to the fullest. And, when it does come to an end and when you draw that line, let's say, you're able to look back and enjoy the memories you've created and enjoy the person who you are and the person who you have become over those years.
Tene, honestly, I couldn't have wished for a better first guest for 2021. Inspired and empowered is probably an understatement for how we're all feeling right now. Just like Kay and Dami, I have resonated, with nearly every single thing you've said today. And I think something that has really come through in our conversation, and I guess also, within your writing and your work, is the whole theme of self-development and self-enlightenment. Life is genuinely a journey of growth, and no one day is ever the same. And so, we're never the same each and every day. We're constantly evolving.
Yeah.
And I think it's a common misconception that self-enlightenment is attainable because, in fact, it's a process. And there are new levels of awareness to reach at different points in your life. And I know that you mentioned that there are always lessons in those painful moments of life. And it's true. I think adversity is contrast. And often when you look back in retrospect, you think positively about something that when it happened might have felt quite horrible and quite difficult. So for you, I know that you said writing was a way of venting your pain in the past, and looking at it now, being in a better mental space, it's often difficult to accept those painful emotions from the past. I guess because it's emotional to see, how you've reached a different level of awareness as you've matured and what you accepted previously.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think I've gone through the same thing this year as well. And this year, like for many others, it's probably been one of the most challenging years of my life. And on that note, I just wanted to explore your own mental health journey. And I know that you've kind of covered this quite a bit in our conversation so far, but how you actually made that decision to put pen to paper and make the shift from, I guess, being self-sabotaging to self-healing, because it's often quite a difficult step to make, just that very first step.
Definitely. I can't pinpoint, what it was that drove me to putting pen to paper. As a child, when I was going through challenges, I would journal about it. It's just something that I did. I really liked like pretty pink journals that had glitter and gems on them. And I really liked writing like my darkest secrets in there. And I stopped as I was getting older, going through high school. I just stopped journaling. But I guess it was just going back to my childhood comfort when I was facing like real adversity. And at the time, it was like a pain that I hadn't felt before, the heartbreak. That really struck me, you know. And as they say, like, growth never comes how we think it's going to come. That pain that struck me was, even though at the time, like you said, I couldn't see the lesson in it. I couldn't see, you know, what good was going to come out of it. But that was the beginning of me discovering my life purpose, you know, which was writing to heal and to share with others. Yeah, I guess I turned to writing as a form of me just getting what was in my head out on paper, because yeah, it was just something that I think, as I had done it in the past, it was just something that I picked up again to do, yeah, to just release the feelings and thoughts that was going on in my head.
I journal quite a bit, and I think this year I've probably journaled a lot more. And I found it quite difficult at first to journal. I guess because sometimes it's quite painful to relive all of the thoughts in your mind again on paper. But I think having now done it a couple hundred times, it feels easier. Was that the same for you? Do you feel that there's a sense of finality once you've written something down, and it sort of allows you to let it go and move on?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like now I see journaling as necessary for me to, you know, nourish my mental health, and I really see that as important. Like, I'm really trying to do a lot more things to nourish my mental health and to make sure that I am checking in with myself. And what I do is every morning I try to, before I even look at my phone, I try to focus on self-development for 1 hour, which involves a range of different activities such as reading, visualization, which is around like visualizing where I want to see myself in the future. Also, I sit in silence for 5 minutes, and that just helps me to explore like my inner thoughts and feelings before the world sort of changes that, or before other opinions, you know, takes over. I really try to yeah, get in tune with myself, and that helps me with clarity and focus, and it helps me really, it keeps, you know, that self-awareness. I'm still on, you know, the journey of understanding myself more, and that just really helps me to center myself.
I love that. You know, it's so amazing to hear kind of the shift from the past to now. You know, you're in such a different space. Just listening to you, seeing you, you exude pure empowerment, security, positive energy. And I like the fact that you have kind of spoken about your daily rituals and practices, because being in a good space isn't always permanent. It takes maintenance, and it's a personal effort. It's a really personal thing. And I know that, you know, you mentioned at the beginning of our conversation that when you were sort of trying to get into law, you ended up losing yourself in trying to be something that you weren't. And I really resonate with the fact that you forced yourself to look in the mirror and ask yourself, you know, what makes me happy? You know, why am I feeling the way I'm feeling? How can I change this for my benefit? And I mean, I don't know about you, but, you know, those daily kind of practices and rituals, it's funny, a lot of people say, I don't have time. But if anything, that's a choice. You're choosing not to make time for those things. But
Yeah.
once you have time for them, it really helps you to get on that consistency journey. And I think consistency is so important. You just, as a person and what you do, I'm sure that those rituals and practices are a massive part of why you've been able to be so successful, not only professionally, but personally, feeling personally fulfilled, feeling joyful, feeling that you're doing something that links to your purpose. And in terms of kind of looking beyond, it's quite a wide question, but how do you plan to continue that self-development? Because it's really easy to advise on a superficial basis, but where I'm asking you now, I'm asking you as a person who's gone from strength to strength, and getting recommendations on daily practices because they've helped you is such a concrete resource. And that's the knowledge that Kay, Dami, and I are trying to spread to the world, because it's really easy to say, yeah, do this, do that, but it means so much more when you can sort of relate it to your own personal experiences. So yeah, what are you planning to sort of do in 2021 and beyond to continue that journey of development and empowerment?
I've started reading The Miracle Morning, and that's what really encouraged me to, create that time for myself in the morning. And through on my social media, I share pages from the book, and I share the things that I'm doing for myself to try and encourage others to incorporate these rituals into their daily lives as well. And I think for me in 2021, it's going to be all about getting accountability partners for the areas in my life that I'm struggling with. So, for example, finance. That's something that I've struggled with because growing up, money was never spoken about in the greatest of ways in my household. We were never taught anything about money, sort of thing. So I know that that's an area that I'm really finding challenging. I find it difficult to manage my finances, but I have been, I started the journey a couple years ago, and I'm aware that it's going to take years of work. So I think for this year, it's going to be about getting an accountability partner to help me on that journey of becoming more financially responsible. And it's something that I would recommend to anybody who's finding it difficult to make changes in their life or to incorporate, new rituals in their life. I think it's important to get accountability partners that you can do those things with, and to find people that are really going to help stretch you and who are going to, tell you off when you haven't done it. Like, those are the people you need in your life to elevate, not the ones that are going to be nice about it, the ones who are going to be firm with you. And and that's the sort of accountability partner I'm looking for with my finances. And that's something that I want to emphasize a lot more of in this year to followers on my Instagram account. The importance of accountability partners, and like you said earlier, surrounding yourself with the right energy, both online and offline, and analyzing the relationships that you currently have, both offline and online as well. And really exploring and thinking about the energy that you're getting from the relationships that you have, and really evaluating them, and just making sure you're taking note of the relationships that are energizing you and the ones that are draining you, because that will help you understand the sort of people that you need to distance yourself from. And I know sometimes, this isn't easy. It's not an easy task to do that, especially when it's people that, you've known for a long time and so on. But I feel like letting go is a part of life, and it's necessary sometimes for our growth and healing. And, the act of letting go is a healthy way of moving on.
Oh, Tene, I really couldn't resonate any more with what you just said, especially that last bit about letting go. I think setting boundaries, is a massive part of growth, and accepting where you are and knowing where you want to be is another part. And it's not always easy. I think leveling up requires letting go of things that no longer serve you, but it's difficult when those things have been in your life for so long, or they've been a crutch, or they've sort of acted as a security blanket or a safe place. And I just love kind of your raw honesty about the things that you're planning to do in 2021. And I guess just one thing about the point that you made about finances. I know that it's not just related to finances alone, but I think what you said about growing up in a household that didn't sort of place a lot of importance on that, I'm sure there was so many other things that you grew up with that weren't deemed to be important. And I'm assuming things like self-love, relationships, along with finances, were things that weren't widely spoken about, because that's definitely something that I think communities of color, I guess it's like not toxic, but just generational cycles. There are specific things that people don't talk about often, and young people grow up without that knowledge, that life knowledge. And it's really hard to know what you don't know, especially when you've grown up, for so long like that. So I appreciate when you said that it's not going to happen overnight, because growth isn't an overnight thing, it's a constant thing. And often we see big shifts over a longer period of time in which we've been consistent in. And so I'm taking so much away from what you've just said, and I hope that our listeners will do the same. It's a new year, but it's just a continuation of life, I guess. It's not, it doesn't signify anything else, but it's just another opportunity to look at where you are and think about what you really want and what changes you have to make. And that can be difficult. That can be difficult sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. And I remember one of my followers online said to me that, you're always talking about the importance of practicing self-love, but not like how to practice self-love. So one of the things I've told myself that I'm going to do this year is to actually, share self-love activities that I do myself to my audience, and share, ways on how you can nourish your mind and build your self-esteem and things like that. I've realized that it's true, a lot of people talk about the importance of it, but not actually sharing ways on how you can practice it. And that's something that I learned from one of my followers, who I really appreciate. I think it's so important, to pay attention people who are in your community, and to pay attention to the challenges that they go through, and see how we can come together to address those, and to help people live more purposeful, meaningful lives.
Oh, Tene, I love that. I think this is why we were drawn to you in the first place. It's just that love that you represent, and it's not just love for yourself only, but it's love for everyone. And you live consciously, you advise consciously, and you are open to those suggestions. You want to collaborate, in order to eradicate the mutual issues that we all share, because there is so much strength in community. And that's definitely something that we were so sort of taken back by with you as a person and what you do. You are really doing what you do, for the needs of the many as opposed to the needs of the few. So thank you so much. And I have no doubt that our listeners are going to take so much away from this call, really and truly. And I can't wait to see what you come out with, because we are avid followers of you. We love to listen to the advice you give, and your newsletter is just amazing. But we appreciate the experiences that you share, because it's those experiences that make that advice purposeful and meaningful. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Honestly, it's been an honor having a conversation with you all.
Tene, we always end our episodes by asking a question to all of our guests. What does empowerment mean to you?
Empowerment for me is being able to listen to your inner voice, and being able to follow where that voice takes you. And I think by understanding your inner voice, that is when you are truly able to live a life of fulfillment, because your inner voice will give you clarity and focus, and speak to you and let you know what it is that you love to do, what it is that makes you happy. And for me, I've learned how to create the life I deserve by making the conscious effort every day to get in tune with my inner voice. And that has been, I think, key in helping me feel empowered and live a life that is truly meaningful to me.
That's it for today, guys. We will be welcoming more great guests over the next few months, so stay tuned in. Follow us on Spotify and leave a rating and comment on iTunes. If you love our episodes, we'd be very grateful if you could follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter to keep up with all things LBW. And don't forget to like, follow, and leave a comment on our posts. Remember to also sign up to our mailing list to receive our quarterly newsletter via our Instagram page. Until next time, take care, live big, and be kind to yourself.